Hey guys, MeAdmiralStarks back with another video, and as I promised, we are doing the premium squad tier list for every nation, if that's how you want to call it. Now, I've put a lot of work into this chart. You can see there's a lot of stuff here, and all of these are premium squads, planes and vehicles. However, I noticed that not all of the available premium squads are actually listed into the tech trees, which I guess I understand because there wouldn't be enough space for them to be shown here. So I've done some on my own research, and basically I've put these things where I think they will be, or if I know, for example, that, let's say, if a Panzer IV-J and a Panther for Germans is a tier 4, then I know that their premium equivalent will sit at tier 4 as well. So based on those facts and matters, I've placed them in different tiers. I've pushed more onto the tanks and planes because those are the things that I know better off in the game. In terms of squads with the weapons, there probably are still a few that are not in here because I just wouldn't really know in which tier to place these. So we're just going to roughly scuff the surface of the premium squads that we have here. Again, not saying what's good, what's best, just going to run through for you all to see how these things match up, I guess, to one another, to see if this seems fair or not fair, or just to see if you've bought any of these, which tier you're gonna be kind of forced to play. So starting off with tier 1 for the Soviet Union, we have the PPT-27, never heard of that weapon. BA-11, I have actually seen this on a battlefield. So yeah, it's a low tier kind of wheelie boy for Soviets. Mosin M44L rifle in tier 1. And then I've placed the Battle for Moscow I-16 Type 24 plane as well in tier 1, because there's obviously nowhere else it can go because tier 2 is already too high for it. For the USA, Stan Mark III assault weapon, M55 Riesing, I believe that's from the Pacific. M8, I think it's nicknamed Greyhound or something like that. I've actually seen that in the battles as well. Tier 1, a wheelie boy, and the LVT, the premium one that came with the Pacific pack as well in tier 1. And I've placed the M13 Mark II squad in tier 1 because this counterpart that isn't a premium sits in tier 1 as well. So I've put this one in tier 1. Germany MP18 squad, the Panzer 38TF sits in tier 1, and the Moschetto M91 is in tier 1 as well, where I've placed the M1340 Series 3 tank in here because I believe that the M13 that isn't a premium one sits for German Tech 3 in tier 1 as well. So therefore I've placed it here in tier 1. And Japan, well, their Tech 3 is very empty and there's not really many things in it. We have the Type 100 paratrooper SMG and the Kachi large boat tank with no armor thingy, as well as the LVT from the Pacific pack sitting in tier 1, so that kind of makes sense. Moving on to tier 2, there's an awful lot more stuff going on here. Again, I'm not entirely sure if I've done the German side correctly, but you know, we'll see how it goes. For the Soviets, we have the BM-824, the rocket shooty thingy from Moscow, and the PPSH-2. That actually seems like a pretty powerful gun for a tier 2. I've placed the Lag-334 aircraft in tier 2 as well. I have no evidence that it's going to be tier 2. It could be tier 3 as well. But there are a lot of foldered planes for Soviets in tier 2, so I'm just guessing this might be foldered under one of those, or literally this thing could be either tier 2 or tier 3, so don't take my word really for it. Then we have the M3 medium, which again could either be tier 3, but I've placed it in tier 2. And then we have Valentine squad, which I thought would kind of go hand in hand with Matilda for the USA, so I placed it in tier 2 as well. Moving on to USA, we have the heavy Matilda here in tier 2, Hurricane Mark IV and P51C10, which is crazy to think, P51C10 in a tier 2, a really good fighter, but there it is. Then I've placed the Boomerang Mark II squad. Again, based on no evidence whatsoever. This thing could probably even be tier 3, but I've placed it in tier 2, as well as the P40E1, where I've actually seen that the regular Tech 3 variant of a P40 is tier 2. So we placed the premium one in tier 2 as well. Moving on to Germans, we have the Breda 88 P11, I guess that should be. Yeah, there we go. Stug 3A, BF 110 C6, and the Geva 41M. So based on these, evidence in the regular Tech 3s, I've placed the BF 109 F2 fighter in tier 2. I've placed the Panzer IV in tier 2 as well. Again, there are a lot of folded tanks in German Tech 3, so I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be ultimately correct, but tier 3, tier 2, it could probably go either way. BF 109 E7, again, I've placed it in tier 2. The Panzer III Aufs N, so basically Panzer III N. I'm pretty sure that the regular one is in tier 2 at the very end, so I'll place it here as well. And then we have the Invasion of Normandy Panzer III M premium squad, which I have no evidence again where it's going to go, so I've kind of placed it in the middle here, so it could be either tier 2 or tier 3. Really, I have no idea. Then for the Japanese, the only thing we have here is the Chiha. Again, really no opinion on that thing because I've never played it. And moving on to tier 3, for the Soviet Union, we have the Su-76M, the very good 76mm cannon, the P-63A-10, the Yak-9K, and the HT-130. I'm really surprised that these Stalingrad flamethrower tanks are in tier 3. Maybe if you get in the right place, right time, they're effective, but all in all, they're quite useless as they are. For the USA, we have the Winchester G30M, the M24 Chaffee, and a heavy big tank boy Churchill Mark III, which I'm kind of happy to see because I have it. And it would be really nice to play this against tier 2s and tier 3s because anything above this thing just stinks absolutely. For the Germans, the TZ-45, Erma AMP, Stug 3G, and Panzer II-F, again the flamethrower tank in tier 3. I don't know why it's here, but it is here. And we need to bear in mind that this Panzer III-M, or for the matter of fact, any of those could be tier 3 as well. I'm not 100% sure. For Japanese, the Type 1 SMG, and that's about it. So the tier 4 is where it really gets busy, and I'm kind of sure for most of these, I think. Starting out with the Soviets, we have the PPSH-41 Parkerized, probably something to do with the, I don't know, mag or whatever. Fyodorov MG in tier 4, T-34-85E in tier 4, and the SKT-40 Sniper. Reminds me of some sort of AVT or SVT, but the muzzle brake looks a bit different. Moving on to USA, Turner SMLE, Mosquito FB Mark 6, FB5, and the M4A3E2 Jumbo. So we are sure about these, that they are here in tier 4. Then moving on to Germans, very busy here for Germans. Sniper Gewehr 41, Dicker Max. The gun is probably capable of tier 4, even versing American tier 5s. The gun is probably very capable, but just the clumsiness of the vehicle and just the armor is sketchy to be in tier 4. MG42 early, and we have the 15 centimeter Panzerwerfer 42, the rocket slinging boy, up in tier 4. Again, probably the rocket aspect is that brings it up here to tier 4, because the other rocket boy is actually in tier 5 because it's more of a tank, but we'll get to that. Then all of these things I've placed here underneath, I've based them, as I said, that if the regular vehicle of the same vehicle is in tier 4, then I'm pretty sure that the premium version is going to be in the same tier, where we have the BF 109 G6, we have a BF 109 G10, then we have the Panzer IV J squad, then we have the Panther A squad, because the Panthers are tier 4, and weirdly enough we got two Panzer IV Js. This one's just a Panzer IV J squad, and this one's Panzer IV J armored squad. Don't ask me, don't know what's the difference, but I'm pretty sure there are two different squads. So I've placed both of them in here in the tier 4. Now, tier 4 for Japanese is known as the last tier because there's nothing, they don't have tier 5s at all. The Type Co rifle, semi-auto thingy, Kai 63i. And then we have the A6M3 as well for the Japanese in tier 4. And the tier 5 for Soviets, we have the belt-fed DP, the AS-44 Model 4, and the SU-100, basically an SU-85 with just as poor armor, just bolted on with a 100mm barrel. Basically, that's it. Probably the only reason I've never bought it. I really love the idea of a 100mm, but I'm not really a fan of the same armor layout as the little guy. Then for the USA, the Thompson 100 round mag, I believe that's the same thingy that this is probably the squad with the paratroopers, honestly. Then we have the Calliope, the Rocket Boy, and we have the Sherman Firefly in tier 5 as well. Then moving on to Germans, we have the Gear at 03, kind of seems like a Gewehr kind of type. Slightly different top like the barrel here. Suomi KP31 in tier 5 as well. I think there was some anger regards this weapon because people bought this premium squad to play in like Moscow, and now the weapon is such a high tier that you will never ever be able to bring it out in Moscow, because Moscow, like tier 5 is not going to go to Moscow. And then we have the Krieshoff from the paratrooper squad FG, and the Focke-Wulf 190 D9 as well here. That's why I've placed the premium version. Oh wait, that's actually the same stuff. Focke-Wulf 190 D9, yeah, okay, so I've just doubled, so yeah, that's the same thing here. BF109 G14, I'm pretty sure this is foldered under somewhere in the planes in tier 5 for Germans. And then the it says Panzerjäger 470, so basically a Panzer 470. It is a tier 5, a regular tank, and I've placed the premium one in tier 5 as well. And for Japanese, they don't have tier 5. So yeah, that's a little run through of the tiers, obviously the ones I've placed, these images here that I've placed. Some of them are, I'm pretty sure, are correct, but some of them I mentioned, they may as well go up or down or whatever. Probably up. I would imagine some of these tier 2s could be tier 3s actually. But yeah, regards that everything that's here for Germans, I'm more or less sure that it's gonna stay like that. So yeah, that's all the info I can give you regards all the tiers and premium squads, weapons and planes and tanks. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you comment down below what you think of all this premium stuff. Is it in the right place, the wrong place? Are you angry? Are you happy? And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.